Picture this. It is night, a quiet, velvety kind of night. One where the stars seem hung just a little too low in the sky, swaying gently with each passing breeze. You're lying in bed, the cool linen beneath you rougher than you'd like, but not enough to get up. The air smells faintly of wax and wood smoke, and outside, the town rests, mostly. You've chosen this night to drift back, way back, centuries, past the blinking neon, past the gaslights, past the dusty oil lamps, to a time when light meant flame, and a haircut could mean brain surgery. Spoiler, not everyone survived. Congratulations. Tonight you will, probably. For the next few hours, and yes, we'll take our sweet time. You'll wander this older world. You'll wake in it, smell it, hear it. Rub the itch of its woolen sleeves and wince at its leech bites. We'll visit markets and prisons, grand halls and grimy taverns, villages too small for maps and cities too crowded to breathe. And we'll meet a barber, a cheerful man, crimson-stained apron and all, shaving beards, pulling teeth, lancing boils, and when called upon, opening skulls with a practiced flick of the wrist. It was cheaper than hiring a physician, faster too, but that is hours away. First, let's take it slow. Let's wake up together here in this soft darkness where the past is still waiting. Close your eyes. You're almost there. Waking up and first sensations. Picture this. A thick, suffocating warmth presses around you, like being wrapped in too many woolen blankets beneath an unkind sun. You shift. Your skin sticks faintly to a rough linen sheet. The smell hits first, a sour blend of sweat, smoke, and something faintly metallic. Your eyes crack open. Above you, beams of dark wood, their surfaces warped with time, mottled with soot and spider silk. No paint, no polish, just wood, breathing slowly with the house around it. You blink. The light is uneven. No electric hum here. Just a dying orange glow from the stub of a tallow candle on a battered stool. Its flame sputters against the creeping dawn that leaks through wooden shutters warped by rain and sun. The air is heavy, close. You breathe, and it tastes of smoke and damp straw. Your throat is raw. You swallow, regret that. Noise filters in, a rooster's ragged crow, a cartwheel groaning past outside. Somewhere, shouting. You can't tell if it's anger or business, could be both. You try to move. Your joints ache, deeply, stubbornly. Not the ache of age, the ache of hard work on cold days and damp nights. Your neck cracks as you turn. Tepidity everywhere. No breeze, no relief, no ice. You sit up slowly. The bed, if one dares call it that, is a wooden frame with ropes strung across it, sagging like an old smile. Over this, a thin, straw-stuffed mattress lies unevenly, its corners gnawed by something small and determined. Privacy, none. Hope, a flicker. Now upright, you take stock. A single room. Plaster walls, cracked and peeling. A hearth in one corner, gray ash piled beneath its cold mouth. A chipped wooden bowl on the table. A dented pewter mug. A bundle of herbs, for cooking or medicine you can't tell, hangs drying from a ceiling hook, its leaves brittle and dusty. A mouse scurries across the floor. You both ignore each other. From somewhere close by, a woman's voice rises in song. Soft, lilting, tired. A lullaby for no one. A beat later, the sharp crack of a slap and a child's quick wail. The lullaby does not resume, and still the rooster crows, oblivious. You rub your face, your fingers come away gritty. You smell of smoke, old sweat, and unwashed linen. But congratulations, you're alive. This morning at least. You look at your hands, broad-palmed, scarred, the nails rimmed with dirt. These are working hands. They've gripped wood and iron more often than quill or coin. And now, today, they'll do it again. Outside, the light grows, the world waits. And here is a man across the alley, bald, stooped, sharpening a wickedly curved blade on a foot-pedaled wheel. Sparks fly like tiny stars. He whistles tunelessly. A customer waits nearby, a tooth wrapped in bloody cloth. A barber. But first, before blades and blood, you must rise. And yes, there will be lice. Your home, climate, and unwanted guests. Picture this. You stand, stiffly, and cross the creaking floor. The boards shift beneath you, groaning in complaint. A draft sneaks through the ill-fitted shutters. Not enough to cool the room, just enough to remind you that walls here are suggestions, not barriers. The air outside is cool for now, but summer is coming. A brutal, wet sort of summer. The kind where streets become mud, where the thatch above your head steams with trapped heat, and the air inside turns thick as soup. For now, though, the morning is damp, chilled. You press your palm to the wall, stone beneath flaking lime wash, cold and sweating with moisture. The plaster will peel again soon. It always does. You glance up. The roof beams glisten faintly where the dawn light catches droplets. Somewhere overhead, something stirs. A rat, maybe. A sparrow trapped in the thatch. You've long since given up trying to evict them. Tepidity everywhere. Dryness, never. You take a slow breath. The room smells of old smoke, damp wood, and the faint ammonia sting of chamber pot contents that need emptying. You'll do that soon. Maybe. Now, your feet. Bare against rough planks. You flinch as you step on something sharp. A broken quill tip, perhaps. A small, invisible tax for walking indoors. Your living space is humble. If you're lucky, you share it with family. If less lucky, with others who paid for the same patch of floor. Privacy, not a luxury you've ever known. In the far corner, a chest, iron-banded, its lock rusted stiff. Inside, linens, spare hose, and a few coins wrapped in cloth. Beside it, a stack of firewood, damp and mold-spotted. You sigh. It will smoke more than burn. On a small shelf, a pewter plate, warped and scratched. A wooden spoon blackened with use. A ceramic jug, cracked but serviceable. This is home. You take it in without affection. Familiarity breeds only tolerance here. Now, the inevitable. Lice. You scratch absently behind your ear. Fingers brush over a raised bump, another bite. You resist the urge to search further, knowing what you'll find. They live in your seams, your bedding, your hair. Tiny, tireless tenants. You shiver. Tepidity, constant. Cleanliness, fleeting. Relief, rare. Your climate offers no favors. Winters bite, summers suffocate. Spring and autumn. Brief, treacherous things that promise much and deliver little. Today, though, is a rare balance. The air outside smells of wet earth and green things. You can almost pretend it's fresh. But inside, warmth is rising. You can feel it. The sun will turn this space into a stifling box by midday. You glance once more around your room. The mouse from earlier peers at you from beneath a rafter. Its whiskers twitch. You incline your head in weary greeting. And here is a woman 2 floors below. She scrubs a stone doorstep with sand and lye, her knuckles raw, her hair bound beneath a stained kerchief. Her reward? One cleaner patch of dirt in a sea of filth. Spoiler, it will be filthy again by noon. And now, you must face the morning. The world is stirring. The city hums beneath the surface, waiting for your reluctant feet. And so you step forward. Morning hygiene, water, and the call of nature picture this. You stretch, bones popping like twigs beneath the strain. The room presses close, urging you out. You reach for the chamber pot, a battered clay vessel squatting beneath the bed frame, its contents sloshing ominously. You carry it with 2 hands, carefully. One spill would sour the room for days. Across the threshold, down crooked stairs worn thin in the middle, you step into the courtyard. The air bites cold against your skin. Early sun cuts through rising mist. Around you, stone walls patched with mud, wood beams black with soot, ropes sagging beneath lines of rough linen. At the far end of the yard waits the midden, a polite term for what is, in truth, a heap of humanity's least poetic moments. You tip the pot's contents onto it. A splash, a gag. You step back quickly. Welcome to morning hygiene. Water comes next, if you can find it. A communal well sits beyond the courtyard gate, guarded by a woman whose eyes weigh every drop. Her family holds the well's key and the power it brings. You greet her with a nod. Coins might speed her favor, a smile won't. You offer both. She unlocks the wooden cap with a rusty iron key. The pulley groans as you lower the bucket into cold darkness. A distant splash. You haul it up hand over hand, water streaming down your sleeves. Cold, clear, miraculous. You fill a clay jug, the rim chipped from past haste. The woman locks the well once more. You nod again. She does not smile. Back in your room, you pour water into a shallow wooden basin. It rocks slightly on the uneven table. You cup your hands and splash your face. The shock of cold sears through sleep's remnants. You gasp, then again, and again. You scrub with a rag, rough wool, no soap. Soap is rare, costly. You save it for holy days or lice crises. Today is neither. You run fingers through your hair, thick, tangled. Something moves beneath. You ignore it. For your teeth, a twig, frayed at one end. You chew it to freshen your breath. The taste is bitter, bark sweet. Better than nothing. You spit into the hearth's cold ashes. The sound seems loud in the morning stillness. And now, nature's call beyond the chamber pot. In the alley behind your building stands a wooden privy, shared by too many. Its door hangs askew. Flies swarm its threshold. You step inside, holding your breath. A plank with a hole, a pit beneath, its depth unknown, and best left so. You do what you must. A rat scurries past your foot. You freeze, it vanishes. You finish quickly. Outside again, the air feels cleaner, sweeter. You fill your lungs. You survive another morning's rituals, and here is an old man near the well. He scrapes a cracked razor against a leather strop, one trembling hand steadying the blade. His beard is gray, sparse. His eyes, sharp still. He glances at you and grins, toothless. You grin back, half in respect, half in sympathy. Now the day begins in earnest. Hunger stirs, your stomach grumbles. Time to chase food, or what passes for it. And so you step forward into the waking world. Breakfast, food, and utensils. Picture this. The streets greet you with a damp breath and the low murmur of waking life. Doors creak open, shutters bang against stone. Footsteps thud on uneven cobbles slick with last night's rain. And less pleasant things. Your stomach reminds you sharply that it is empty, the sort of deep emptiness that echoes. You listen. It gurgles again, demanding tribute. Time for breakfast. You carry your battered mug and wooden spoon. Your pockets jingle softly with a few worn coins. Yesterday's labor, today's hope. The air smells of wood smoke, horse dung, stale beer, and, mercifully, bread. At the corner of your street, beneath a patched awning, a baker pulls flat rounds of rye from a blackened oven. The loaves are dense, heavy as bricks, their crusts split and soot-dusted. You join the short queue. Coins pass hand to palm. You clutch your prize, a warm round that scalds your fingers and fills the air with sour, yeasty comfort. You tear a piece free. The crust snaps. The interior is dark, chewy. Bits of unground husk crunch between your teeth. You chew slowly. Spoiler, no butter. Congratulations, no mold yet. Watered ale washes it down. Thin, sour, but safer than well water alone. You drink in slow gulps, lips pursed against the rim of your dented mug. Now, something more. You cross 2 alleys to a market stall. Here a woman stirs a blackened iron pot over a smoking brazier. Inside, pottage, a bubbling swamp of beans, cabbage, barley, and whatever else survived the week. You offer a coin. She ladles a portion into your mug. The liquid steams, releasing a sour, earthy aroma that is almost appealing. You eat with your spoon, careful of hidden bone shards and stray grit. Each bite is a negotiation, nourishment versus hazard. Tepidity in every mouthful. Satisfaction, gradual, surprise, occasional. You glance around. The market stirs now. A boy hawks bruised apples from a wicker basket. A woman sells dried fish strung like grim garlands. A potter displays chipped bowls beside unbroken dreams. You finish your meal. The pottage leaves a greasy film on your tongue. You scrape your spoon clean against your crust of bread, then wrap the remainder in cloth for later. Nearby, a man in a blue apron sharpens a long knife. His stall bears a sign. Shaves, bleeds, cures, extracts, all for honest coin. A barber. His smile gleams too white, too wide, and here is a girl seated beside him, thin, hollow-eyed, clutching a handkerchief stained with old blood. She stares past you, past the street, into some private fog. You pocket your spoon, hoist your mug, and step away. The morning deepens. The city's pulse quickens. You walk on, toward whatever work the day will bring. Clothing, fabrics, and fashion. Picture this. The sun climbs higher now, burning away mist, revealing the city's rough edges. You feel its warmth seep through your sleeves. Coarse, scratchy wool spun thick to outlast cold and damp alike. Your shirt clings faintly to your skin. Linen, if you're lucky. Coarser flax if you're not. And by the itch behind your shoulders, today it is not. You adjust the simple belt knotted at your waist. From it hangs a small knife in a wooden sheath and a cloth pouch holding your meager coins. These are your tools, your armor, your hope. Your legs are wrapped in hose, 2 separate pieces, each tied at the thigh with rough cord beneath your tunic. They sag, they always sag. Your feet? Thick woolen stockings inside stiff leather shoes, their soles iron-nailed. Each step thuds against the cobbles, echoing faintly in narrow alleys. Tepidity, sealed in wool. Grace, sacrificed for warmth. Style, a rumor. You glance around as you walk. The city is a tapestry of fashion, woven from coin and class. A merchant strides past, his surcoat bright with dyed stripes, once vivid, now dulled by wear. His boots gleam beneath layers of grime, a silent boast of status. Behind him, a weaver's apprentice scurries, sleeves rolled, arms bare, patched hose revealing knees more fabric than flesh. A noblewoman's litter passes, veiled in fine linen curtains. You glimpse a jeweled shoe, impossibly clean, peeking beneath. The scent of rose oil trails after her like a private breeze. Spoiler: the litter bearers smell less appealing. At a stall, a dyer stirs a steaming vat of indigo. His hands, wrists to knuckles, are stained a deep, unyielding blue. He scratches his beard absently, leaving streaks across his cheek. And here is a beggar by the well, wrapped in a blanket of indeterminate color and infinite holes, eyes bright beneath a mat of hair. He grins as you pass, displaying gums robbed of teeth. You nod. You pause before a tailor's booth. Bolts of fabric lie stacked. Wool, linen, rare silk reserved for those far above your purse. A woman haggles fiercely over threadbare remnants. Your own tunic sags at the hem. Its cuffs are frayed, its dye long faded. Repair will come when time allows. Fashion is a distant luxury. Survival is the daily cut. Yet still, the city adorns itself. A child runs by, hair braided with a scrap of ribbon. A baker's wife adjusts a cap embroidered with crude but loving hands. A blacksmith polishes the single gleam of his belt buckle, pride in its modest shine. And you? You shift your belt, straighten your tunic, not for vanity, for readiness. Today may demand hard labor, swift running, sudden meeting. Your clothing is your second skin, imperfect, stubborn, essential. And now the streets grow crowded. The morning stillness shatters beneath iron-shod hooves, clattering wheels, shouted bargains. You steel yourself. The day's true dangers lie ahead. And so you step forward, clothed in wool and will alike. Roads, transport, and first dangers. Picture this. The sun now casts long, sharp shadows across the city's twisting lanes. You step carefully, each footfall measured. These streets are no gentle promenade. The cobbles beneath you shift treacherously. Some are worn to hollows, others jut like teeth. Between them, black muck, stray bones, shattered pottery, the relics of too many careless feet. You pass beneath a low archway. Rainwater drips in cold rhythm from its stones, marking your passage with faint, wet kisses. Beyond it, the main thoroughfare unspools, wide for this city. Wide enough for ox carts, market wagons, mounted couriers. Wide enough for danger. The air smells of trampled straw, wet leather, smoke, and the sharp tang of horse sweat. You glance left. A brewer's cart lurches past, its wheels groaning beneath heavy casks. The driver curses in 4 languages as he fights for space. To your right, a line of donkeys plods sullenly, their burdens swaying with each weary step. A boy no older than 10 urges them on with a stick worn smooth by use. You weave between them, swift, alert. Tepidity in the crowd's breath. Space, a memory. Safety, an illusion. A shout rings out behind you. You turn. A noble's rider forces a path through the press, his horse foaming, its eyes wide. The crowd scatters, parting like water around a stone. You leap aside just in time. Spoiler, he will not apologize. Congratulations, you remain untrampled. You steady yourself against a wall slick with moss, heart pounding, breath quick. You've learned. Here hesitation courts harm. You move on. Now the market carts dominate. Thick-axled, iron-bound, their drivers shouting hoarse warnings. Wheels churn muck to paste, spattering passers-by with generous abandon. A fishmonger's cart topples ahead. Silver-scaled bodies scatter across the stones. Cries of protest and glee mix as urchins dive to claim the bounty. You skirt the chaos. A narrow side street beckons, quieter for now. You slip into its shade, boots whispering against damp stone. Here the dangers shift. A hand brushes your pouch, too deliberate. You catch the wrist, grip tightening. A thin boy, no older than 12, stares back, defiant. You release him with a warning glare. He vanishes into the gloom. You check your coins, all present, this time. And here is a carter resting by a broken wheel. Sweat-soaked, cursing gently, he prizes a splintered spoke from its rim. His horse droops, head low, eyes glazed. Both are prisoners of this unforgiving road. You move on, wary. Above you, laundry flaps from overhead lines. Faded banners of countless unseen lives. A woman leans from a window, pours slop into the gutter. You sidestep hastily. Too late. Your sleeve dampens with something best unexamined. You sigh. The streets give no favors. Yet still you press forward. Each step a negotiation, each glance a shield. You are learning this city's rhythm and its perils. And as you emerge once more into the open, the sun catches on steel, a barber's blade, gleaming bright as new coin. He waves it with a showman's flair, drawing a small, uneasy crowd. But your path lies onward. The day's true labor awaits. And so you step forward, wary, watching, worn. The working day of peasants and craftsmen. Picture this. The city breathes faster now. Shouts and hammer blows stitch the air into a ceaseless hum. The sun climbs higher, flattening shadows beneath your feet. You pass beneath a broad timbered gate and into the outer ward. Here the craftsmen live and toil. The scent of smoke grows thicker. Metal sings on metal. Dogs bark. Children dart through legs and carts like minnows. You follow the flow toward the fields beyond. Peasants file through the gate, tools slung over shoulders, faces drawn with sleep's loss. And here begins their day. You step beyond stone and timber into open land, vast, scarred by generations of labor. The earth is dark, stubborn. Rows of green struggle against its weight. A peasant kneels in the furrows, fingers caked with soil. He pulls weeds with practiced scorn, tossing them aside. His back is bent near double, by toil, by time. His wife works nearby, setting seed with deft flicks of the wrist. Their child watches from a blanket of patched sackcloth, eyes wide, silent. Spoiler: the child will learn this rhythm soon enough. A team of oxen plods past, guided by a youth whose hands bear rope burns fresh and deep. He sings softly to calm the beasts. The plow blade bites, turns, breathes new earth. And here is an old woman gathering nettles by the stream. Her basket brims with green, bitter now, but tender when young. A meal for the pot, perhaps even a cure for what ails. You linger, watching sweat bead on brows, stained tunics dark. The sun offers no quarter. Now, back within the walls, the craftsmen stir. A cooper shaves oak staves smooth, sweat streaking sawdust across his arms. The rhythm of blade against wood is hypnotic, steady as a heart. A potter's wheel spins beneath deft fingers. Clay takes life in wet coils, rising into humble bowls and hopeful jugs. And a blacksmith stands in a forge's fiery mouth. Sparks dance like stars against his soot-dark skin. He draws molten iron from the flame, shapes it with measured fury. His apprentice pumps the bellows, eyes wide with awe and exhaustion. You catch the boy's glance, a flicker of pride, of longing. You nod. He grins, teeth bright against grime. Now, the weavers. Within a narrow shop, a loom clacks and hums. Threads stretch taut beneath a woman's flying fingers. She hums softly, a tune older than the cloth itself. Beside her, a young girl winds bobbins, lips moving in silent count. Her eyes flick toward the door, toward sun and sky and fleeting freedom. Spoiler: not today. Congratulations. You remain an observer. You walk on. The city's breath deepens. Labor swells beneath its skin, measured, endless, unseen by those it serves. And here is a mason setting stone with slow, deliberate grace. His fingers trace each edge, seeking the perfect fit. His world is weight and balance, permanence carved from dust. You watch, humbled. The working day stretches ahead, long, relentless. You feel its weight upon your shoulders, its grit beneath your nails. But still you walk. And so you step forward, toward new labors yet unseen, the working day of nobles and officials. Picture this. You return through the city's gate as the sun claims the sky's zenith. The craftsman's hammers fade behind you, replaced by voices, measured, clipped, adorned with words too long for the working tongue. Here lies the quarter of the well-placed. Not cleaner, no, but dressed in finer illusion. The streets are swept, yet still stink. The buildings rise higher, yet lean no straighter. Wealth here walks in silks over the same mud. You follow a broad avenue toward the heart of civic power. A herald passes, voice raised, parchment in hand. Proclamations of tax, of edict, of noble whim. Few listen, fewer care. And here come the officials. A clerk strides by, robes ink-stained at the cuff. He mutters numbers beneath his breath, fingers flicking across an abacus slung from his belt. His gaze does not rise. The city beneath him is ledgered, weighed, but unseen. Behind him, a scribe adjusts his cap, arms laden with scrolls bound tight. One slips free. You catch it. His thanks is a nod, brisk, distracted. Spoiler. The scroll holds 3 words. Delayed. Increased levy. Congratulations. You remain outside its reach. You approach the Hall of Records, stone-boned, iron-jawed, its windows narrow as trust. Within, scribes scratch endlessly beneath sputtering lamps. Their faces gleam with sweat and dust. Ink-blackened fingers flutter like moths over parchment. Here days die beneath quill and seal. You glance higher toward the keep. There nobles stir to life, long after labor's first breath. A knight passes, chainmail singing faintly with each stride. His surcoat is crimson, embroidered with gold. His eyes weigh all before him and find it lacking. You do not meet his gaze. In a sunlit courtyard, courtiers gather, a swirl of silk and scent. Laughter tinkles, forced, brittle. Words wound here more keenly than blades. A young woman's smile wilts beneath an older man's whispered jest. She bows and drifts away, eyes shining with unshed disdain. And here is a noble at council, broad-shouldered, fur-draped despite the heat. He speaks of grain levies and border disputes, voice heavy with entitlement. Around him, lesser lords murmur assent, eyes sharp with calculation. Spoiler. Justice bends beneath these walls. Congratulations. You walk free, for now. You drift onward, unseen among the adorned. A steward chides a servant over wine too warm. A young page polishes boots already gleaming. A lady's maid braids hair beneath a cascade of pearls worth 10 lifetimes of labor. And beyond, in the shaded cloisters, scholars debate beneath vines and stone. Words weave around them, law, philosophy, power. Their world lies in thought, untouched by earth or toil. You pause. Listen. A single voice rises, measured, weary, and what of those who carry this city upon their backs? Silence. Then a smile, cool as marble. They should be grateful for the chance. Tepidity in their logic. Mercy, absent. Irony, thick. The sun tilts westward. Shadows lengthen. The nobles retreat to shaded halls. The officials to ink-stained refuge. Their labor ends where others begin. And so you step forward, toward streets where coin and cunning entwine. Market, deals, taxes, and cheats. Picture this. The sun leans westward, but the city pulses on, louder now, sharper. The market square spreads before you like a living map. Tents and stalls, barrels and benches, coin and craving entwined. The air is thick, with sweat, with spice, with shouted bargains hurled like javelins. You step in. The crowd swallows you whole. At your elbow, a fishmonger bellows, "Fresh catch, scales silver, eyes clear, smell the sea." A bold claim. The sea lies 2 days' ride from here. You decline. Nearby, a cloth merchant strokes velvet with fingers soft as promise. His voice purrs, "Fit for nobility, but I ask peasant coin." You smile, knowing better. Spoiler, the weave hides more flaw than thread. Congratulations. You keep your purse sealed. You move on. A woman stirs a pot of honeyed nuts, their scent clawing at hunger's door. A coin buys a small handful, warm, sticky, fleetingly sweet. You chew slowly, eyes wary. Here, coin changes hands with perilous speed. A scribe sets up a table. Letters writ, oaths sealed, debts recorded. His quill dances for silver, words binding as iron. A money changer fans coins across a velvet-draped board. Gold gleams, silver winks, copper scowls. His fingers flick too fast and too often. You watch a farmer leave lighter of purse and heavier of regret. Tepidity in every bargain. Honesty, rare. Fools, plentiful. A tax collector arrives, flanked by two guards. His ledger bears the city's seal. His smile needs none. He moves stall to stall, voice oily. For the walls, for the watch, for the privilege of trade. Coins vanish. Protests wilt. The guards remain silent, but present. You drift past, unseen, untaxed, this time. Here is a dice game in a shadowed alcove. Bones rattle in a wooden cup. Silver winks on the cloth. A crowd leans in, breath held, hope foolish. A cheer erupts, brief, bitter. Silver changes hands. Joy sours to suspicion. The dice man smiles too smoothly. His hands move too quick. Spoiler, the house wins, always. Congratulations, you walked away. You pause at a spice seller's stall. Dried herbs hang in fragrant clouds. Saffron gleams in a tiny jar. Worth more than your month's labor, you inhale deeply, knowing scent must suffice. And here is an old man at a corner table. Ink-stained fingers, a lap weighted with ledgers. He tracks debts unseen, his gaze sharp as any blade. A merchant approaches, coin in trembling hand. The old man smiles, thin, cold. A signature seals the pact. Freedom fades. You walk on. A juggler spins knives to scattered applause. A pickpocket plucks a purse unseen. A child sells wilted flowers with a gaze too old for her years. The market hums, a beast of appetite and deception. You have learned its rhythm, danced its dangerous waltz. Now the light fades, the stalls close, coins clink into counting bags. The taxman departs, ledger fat. The crowd thins, leaving echoes behind. And so you step forward, toward shadows where revel and ruin entwine. Festivals, gambling, arenas, and spectacles. Picture this. The sun dips low, shadows spill long across stone. The market's roar fades to murmurs, but the city stirs anew, not for labor, but for spectacle. Banners flutter from high windows. Drums throb in the distance. The scent of roasted meat coils through the alleys, drawing even weary feet toward the square. Tonight, a festival breathes life into the dusk. You follow the current of bodies, pressed shoulder to shoulder. The square unfolds before you, garlanded with ribbons, lit by 100 wavering flames. A platform rises at its heart. Musicians gather, flutes, drums, viols, weaving a tune bright and frantic. Feet tap, hips sway. Spoiler, the melody promises joy. Congratulations, you still trust it. Vendors line the square's edge. Spiced wine steams in battered cauldrons. Meat spits over open flames, fat crackling. Sweet cakes, rare treasure, vanish by the dozen. You trade a coin for a cup. The wine burns sweet, staining your lips. You sip slow, savoring warmth against the evening's chill. A shout draws your gaze. Beneath a striped awning, a dice game blazes. Coins scatter, laughter spikes, despair follows swift. The cup rattles, a roll, a breath held, fortune made or lost in a blink. You linger, watching. A farmer curses softly. A merchant feigns indifference as silver bleeds from his purse. The dice master grins, practiced, predatory. Tepidity in every wager. Victory, fleeting, loss, enduring. You move on. At the square's edge, a makeshift arena stands, rope-ringed, torch-lit. A crowd presses close, eyes bright. Two fighters enter, bare-chested, scarred. The crowd roars. Wagers fly hand to hand. You feel the thrum of it. Coin, blood, pride. The bout begins. Fists crash, flesh bruises, teeth fly. Spoiler, not both will walk away whole. Congratulations. You remain a spectator. The crowd surges with each blow. The air smells of sweat, iron, wine. You step back, the press too close, the heat too thick. Beyond the fighters, a troupe of jugglers takes the stage. Knives flash, torches spin. A girl dances between blades, laughter bright and brittle. A beggar cups his hands for coin. You drop one. His nod is slow, eyes knowing. And here is a barber at a makeshift stall, blades gleaming beneath torchlight. He shaves a drunkard with unsettling care, smile sharp as his tools. The festival swells, music, laughter, shouts, wine flows, inhibitions fade. Yet beneath the revel, shadows creep, purses lighten, knives gleam too long, trust thins. You watch, wary, you have learned. And as the night deepens, the crowd frays, joy wanes, hunger sharpens anew. The square empties by slow degrees, leaving torch stubs and trampled dreams. You turn from fading music, feet weary, senses sharp. The city does not sleep, not yet. And so you step forward, toward darker corners where coin buys silence, law, punishment, and prisons. Picture this. The night is thicker now. The stars blink cold above stone and timber. Yet the city still stirs, beneath banners, beneath coin, beneath law. You follow quieter streets now. The laughter fades. Footsteps echo. Shadows lengthen. Ahead, a broad square yawns wide, empty but for a single scaffold. Wooden, weathered, waiting. A lone guard leans against its frame, spear loose in hand. His gaze is dull, his jaw slack. This is no place for revel. Spoiler. Justice here is swift, not blind. Congratulations. You walk free. You skirt the square. Beyond, the courthouse looms, squat, stone-veined, iron-bound. A brazier smolders at its gate, casting sickly light. Within, justice is weighed and sold. A clerk scurries past, arms full of scrolls. His eyes avoid yours. You understand why. Inside, a judge presides, robed in black, powdered with sweat. His voice drones, guilty, guilty, fined, whipped, imprisoned. Tepidity in every word. Mercy, rationed. Coin, decisive. A merchant protests attacks. A thief denies the blade. A debtor pleads for days he does not have. The judge's gaze is stone. His clerk's quill does not pause. You drift away, stomach tight. Now, the prisons. Beneath the courthouse, stone stairs spiral down. You follow, unseen. The air thickens, damp, sour. A barred door gapes. The jailer lounges nearby, keys heavy at his hip, cudgel heavier still. You step through. Cells line the walls, narrow, dark. Straw rots in corners. Rats move with bold grace. Here is a man with hollow eyes, fingers raw from clawing stone. His crime, debt unpaid. His sentence, life unless coin intervenes. There a woman cradles a child too still. Her gaze meets yours, blank, beyond pleading. Spoiler, she will not leave. Congratulations, you will. You shiver. The walls seem to breathe. Slow, cold, patient. Voices drift through the gloom. A prayer, a curse, a song without tune. And here is the barber again. Blades tucked neat, smile unchanged. He visits often. Bloodletting, tooth-pulling, treatments sold to desperate hands. You watch as he tends a prisoner, blade gleaming. The man winces, but pays. Pain is cheaper than death. You step back, shadows swallowing your path. Above, the stars seem colder still. The city offers little warmth tonight. Yet still you walk. Caution sharpens each footfall. The law does not sleep, but it does hunger. And so you step forward, toward streets where sickness whispers, illness, healers, and superstition. Picture this. The night deepens. The city exhales, slow, uneasy. You feel it in your chest, a weight beyond weariness. Around you, shutters close, candles wink out. But in certain windows, light lingers, flickering, anxious. Illness walks these streets now, not with trumpet or blade, but with soft coughs, fevered eyes, breath that rattles like dry leaves. You follow dim alleys to a healer's door, marked with a sprig of dried rue. Protection, or so they say. Within, a woman bends over a pale child. Sweat beads the boy's brow. His breath comes shallow, thin. She murmurs, mixes herbs, fennel, mint, feverfew, into bitter draughts. The mother watches, hope and fear entwined. Spoiler, not all cures cure. Congratulations. You remain whole. You step inside. The air reeks of vinegar, smoke, bruised leaves. Shelves sag beneath jars, powders, roots, unnameable things. A dried frog hangs by its legs, eyes sealed forever. The healer turns, eyes sharp, fingers stained green. She weighs you in a glance, then returns to her work. Tepidity in the room's breath, certainty absent, belief abundant. You watch as she chants softly, hands moving in ritual patterns. Whether to aid the child or herself, you cannot tell. A man arrives, cradling a bloodied arm. He speaks of iron's bite, not blade but spirit. The healer nods, presses garlic to the wound, binds it tight. And here is a barber again, his tools gleaming. He offers leeches, bloodletting, balancing of humors. The healer frowns, but does not stop him. Coins clink. The barber smiles. The man winces. The leeches feast. Spoiler, humors will remain imbalanced. Congratulations. Your blood stays yours. You drift back into the street. A bell tolls, slow, mournful. A cart creaks past, heaped with shrouded forms. The driver wears a mask, beak-nosed, eyes glassy. Protection or pretense. You step aside, breath held. The scent is thick, sour sweet. A priest follows, chanting rites. Few watch. Fewer cross themselves. Faith frays beneath such fear. And here is a beggar in the gutter. Skin blotched, breath shallow. Passers-by give him wide berth. You do the same. Tepidity in each touch avoided. Compassion thinned by dread. Superstition blooms here. A charm hangs on every door. Iron nails, braided straw, words scratched in ash. A woman scatters salt across her threshold, muttering. A child wears a pouch of herbs around his neck. A man fingers a saint's relic until the bone wears smooth. You pause at a fountain. Its water gleams silver in moonlight. A lone figure kneels, hands cupped, eyes closed. A prayer, a plea. You do not ask. And so the city waits. Fevered, fearful, fragile. You move on, each breath measured, each step wary. And so you step forward, toward softer shadows where life still lingers. Family, marriage, children, and upbringing. Picture this. You leave the fevered streets behind. The air cools. The stars blink soft above narrow lanes where life beats quieter. Homes stacked upon homes, hopes upon weary hearts. Here families gather, not in wealth, not in ease, but in stubborn rhythm. A window glows warm behind thin cloth. You pause beneath it, unseen. Within, a mother rocks a swaddled babe, her song low, tired. A man repairs a broken stool with shaking hands. A child crouches nearby, eyes wide with wonder or hunger, or both. Spoiler, hunger wins most nights. Congratulations, you ate today. You walk on. A doorway spills light and laughter. A wedding feast. Simple, bread, cheese, thin ale, but joy threads through each voice. The bride wears a wreath of wildflowers. The groom's tunic is freshly patched. They dance clumsily, radiantly. Coins pass to the priest. Vows are spoken. Hands are bound with linen, clean for the occasion. Tepidity in the wine. Love, sincere if worn thin by life. You smile unseen and move on. Here is a courtyard where children play by moonlight. Sticks for swords, stones for treasure. Their laughter rings clear, defying the dark. A mother calls them in, voice sharp with worry. One lingers, eyes bright, reluctant to surrender this sliver of freedom. And here is a father teaching his son to carve wood. The boy's fingers tremble, the blade skitters. The man's hand closes gently over his. Patience is a harder craft than carving. Spoiler, not all lessons hold. Congratulations, tonight's will. You pass a home where 7 share one room. Grandparents, parents, children. Privacy, none. Warmth, abundant. An old woman mends cloth by firelight, humming. A girl combs her sister's hair, slow and tender. A boy reads aloud from a battered prayer book, words halting but proud. And here is a man polishing boots for dawn's labor, gaze fixed beyond the leather, on debts, on hopes, on futures yet unpaid. Marriage here is bond and bargain alike, love where it can be, alliance where it must. Children are wealth, burden, legacy. The city counts them with wary eyes, mouths to feed, backs to bend. Upbringing is no gentle art. Harsh words are common. Harsher lessons follow. But so do soft touches when none watch, whispered stories by guttering flame, hands held through illness and fear. You linger in a doorway. A father lifts his daughter high. Her laughter peals bright against stone. For this moment, the world bends kinder. And here is a mother braiding her son's hair for market day, fingers swift, voice low with warnings and wishes. You turn away, heart heavier, steps slower. The city sleeps behind shuttered eyes. Within each home, life flickers stubbornly, fragile, fierce. And so you step forward, toward chambers where hearths burn low and hands craft comfort from little. Household life, cooking, and domestic chores. Picture this. The night leans deep, yet pockets of warmth pulse within the city's stone veins. You follow their glow, drawn by scent and sound. A shutter stands ajar. You glance inside, a single room, crowded with life. A woman kneels by the hearth, coaxing flame from stubborn embers. Sparks dance, smoke curls, her hands move swift. Sure. Above the flame, a blackened pot swings from iron hook. Its contents bubble low, stew of root and scrap, thickened with hope. Spoiler, not all scraps nourish. Congratulations, this pot does. You step quietly inside. No one marks your passing. The table sags beneath its burden. Coarse bread, thin cheese, a jar of pickled cabbage. A knife rests beside them, worn, faithful. A child tears bread with eager hands. His mother chides gently, then smiles. Hunger forgives haste. In the corner, a man sharpens tools, blade against whetstone, the song of steel bright against quiet. His gaze flickers to the pot, to the bread, to his family. Tepidity, in the stew. Gratitude, unspoken, felt. You linger. A girl fetches water from a barrel, her steps careful, her grip tighter still. Spilled water draws harsh words. Each drop matters. Above, herbs dry in braided ropes, sage, thyme, rue. Fragrance masks the room's weariness. A cat slinks by, tail high, eyes gleaming. It earns a scrap, a stroke. Companionship here needs no coin. Now, the chores. A woman kneels beside linens, scrubbing at a cracked board. Soap is rare. Lye burns cruel. Her knuckles bleed. Her song falters. She pauses, wipes her brow, then resumes. Cleanliness fights a losing battle, yet pride demands the struggle. A boy gathers kindling, arms laden. Splinters mark his fingers. Determination marks his face. In another corner, a loom clatters. A grandmother weaves by candlelight. Each thread a memory, a wish for warmth. And here is a barber's wife, mending aprons dark with stain. Her needle flies, lips tight. Tomorrow brings new blades, new blood. Spoiler, not all stains wash out. Congratulations, hers will fade. You drift back toward the hearth. The pot is ladled, bowls filled, hands joined. A brief grace murmured, heads bowed. Steam rises. The family eats in silence, laced with small smiles. Beneath the wear, beneath the hunger, love persists. Battered, stubborn, enduring. A father sets aside his bowl, lifts a child into his lap. Stories follow, soft, slow, spun from fragments of truth and dream. You watch, unseen, heart stirred. Beyond the window, wind stirs the city's bones. Within, this hearth holds fast, and so you step forward, toward darker streets where ale and shadow mingle, evening, taverns, and the city at night. Picture this. The stars now reign, cold, countless. The city folds inward, its noise thinning to whispers. But not all doors close. Some open wider. You follow rough-cut signs swaying above crooked thresholds. Tankards, lions, suns faded to blotches. The taverns call. Spoiler, not all cups hold wine. Congratulations, you'll choose wisely. You push through a heavy door. Warmth hits first, smoke thick, ale sour, thick with breath and sweat. The air hums with voice and lute string. A tavern, home to joy, sorrow, bargain, and brawl in uneven measure. Tepidity in the ale, honesty, thin, stories, endless. You find a corner. The bench rocks beneath you, worn by years of restless backsides. A girl brings ale, cloudy, bitter. You sip slow. It burns less than it should. Around you, faces ruddy with drink, lined with labor. Hands clutch mugs, dice, thighs. Voices rise, fall, clash, weave. A group of merchants huddle, coins stacked high, eyes wary. A farmer boasts of a pig too clever by half. A sailor sings of lands beyond belief, his voice raw but rich. Spoiler, the pig wins the night's bets. Congratulations, you didn't wager. A minstrel plucks strings near the hearth. His tune twists through the room, bright, mournful, sharp. Coins clink into his cup. Nods follow. The tavern breathes, in laughter, in coughs, in whispered deals sealed with greasy hands. Here is a barber, blade tucked beneath his belt. He shares a drink with a jailer, their smiles sharp. Tonight's tales run red. A man stumbles past, eyes glazed. His pouch is lighter than his step suggests. A girl watches, unreadable. The barkeep polishes a mug already clean, habit more than need. His gaze misses nothing. You sip again. The ale dulls edges, of hunger, of thought. A shout cuts the air, sharp, sudden. A chair scrapes, fists rise. The barkeep slams a cudgel against the bar. Silence folds quick. No blood, this time. The crowd exhales, drinks anew. Spoiler, not all nights end gentle. Congratulations, this one might. You rise, senses sharpened. The air outside chills your skin, clearing your head. The city at night breathes differently, softer, yet taut. You walk shadowed lanes where cats rule and lovers steal moments. A drunk sings to the moon. A guard leans drowsy on his spear. A window above flares bright, a birth or a death. You do not ask. Here is an old woman scattering salt upon her sill. Here a child dreams beneath patched quilts. Here a thief eyes your purse, then turns away. Tepidity in the night's breath. Danger thin-veiled, magic thick in whispered corners. You move swift, silent, sure. You have learned this city's pulse, and so you step forward, toward wisdom older than stone, survival tricks and elders' advice. Picture this. The city lies hushed now, its hungers spent, its tempers banked low as coals in an old hearth. The wise know, this is when you listen. You follow winding alleys toward the tanner's quarter, where smoke still curls from dying vats. A bench leans beneath a warped beam. Upon it, an elder. Face like old leather, eyes sharp beneath sagging lids. His fingers toy with a pipe long gone cold. He watches you approach and chuckles low. You walk late, he rasps. Either bold or fool. Spoiler, the line blurs. Congratulations. Tonight, you lean wise. You sit. No invitation needed. In these hours, words weigh more than coin. He speaks, slow, deliberate, tasting each memory. Coins? Keep 'em deep, wrapped thrice. Pockets invite fingers. Guards? Feed 'em stories sweeter than wine. Truth bends cheap. Barbers? Good for gossip. Bad for secrets. A grin cracks his face. Brief lightning. Tepidity in his voice. Wisdom buried deep. Patience required. You lean in. The air smells of tar, old smoke, faint lavender. A charm hangs from his neck. Wolf's tooth, bone carved. He taps it once. For fever, fennel and ash. For spirits, salt in corners, iron beneath bed. For love, he laughs, shakes his head. No cure. A cat brushes your leg, purrs rough as stone. The elder scratches its ear with a gnarled hand. He nods toward the lane. Watch shadows, some walk hungry. Spoiler, some hunger for more than bread. Congratulations, your wits stay sharp. You ask about nights like this, long, thick with unseen threads. His gaze clouds, then clears. Fire's good, friend's better, neither lasts. You last by watching, listening, stepping wide. A cough shakes him. He waves it off. Mark the cobbles, he says. See which shine. Wet stones betray fools. Mark the walls. Ivy hides cracks and voices. Mark the sky. If crows wheel past midnight, stay in. You nod. His words spool soft through the chill. Now he taps your arm, grip like root and stone. One more, he whispers. Kindness. Spend it wise. Thieves take coin. Cruelty takes soul. His gaze holds yours, steady, unblinking. Then the pipe rises again. Words fall to smoke. You rise, bow low. Respect is coin of its own. Spoiler. Wisdom earns no tax. Congratulations, you've gathered some tonight. You walk back through lanes thinned of life. The elder's voice echoes behind your steps. And here is a seamstress shuttering her shop. A baker kneading for dawn. A guard scratching a crude charm into stone. Each fights the night in their way. You smile, faint, knowing. The city teaches well. And so you step forward, toward hours heavy with thought. Night, philosophy, and the edge of dawn. Picture this. The deepest hours settle like velvet across the city's bones. The streets grow hollow, each footfall a solitary drum. The stars hang thick above, watchers indifferent. You walk slow now, each breath a fogged ghost before you. The city sleeps, mostly, but thoughts like rats scurry restless in the dark. Spoiler, not all fears fade with light. Congratulations, you've met yours and still walk. You pass a shrine tucked in stone shadow. Candles gutter low. Offerings of crust and coin gleam dully. A lone figure kneels there, old, bent. His whispers drift soft. Prayers, pleas, regrets. The words matter less than the saying. You linger, head bowed. No harm in old hope. Tepidity in the wax's glow. Comfort, fleeting. Meaning, perhaps. Now you seek higher ground. Steps wind upward. Stone worn slick by centuries of feet. The city falls away beneath you. Atop a crumbling tower, you rest. The wind cuts sharp, honest. Below, the streets sprawl tangled, veins of light and shadow. Lives stitched in fragile thread. You think, as all do beneath such sky, of days spent, of coin lost, of hands held and let go, of wisdom earned too late, of nights like this, cold, vast, aching. Spoiler, no answers tonight. Congratulations. Questions remain, and so do you. A cat joins you, sleek, silent. Its eyes gleam gold in the dark. You share warmth, moment, and breath. Now voices drift up, soft, uncertain. Two lovers, steps hesitant. They pause beneath your perch, words hushed. Promises spun in midnight's loom. You smile, the city hums on, stubborn. A drunk sings from an unseen stare, voice cracked, tune older than stone. Truth hides in such songs. You listen, and here is a scholar passing, lantern swinging. His lips move, debate with ghosts, perhaps. Books weigh his satchel, yet answers elude his gaze. We are all seekers, you think. Some for gold, some for love, some for peace, and some for meaning where none waits. The east stains pale. Dawn creeps soft-fingered across slate roofs. The stars fade one by reluctant one. You rise, joints stiff, breath steady. The cat flicks its tail, vanishes. The city stirs. Bakers' fires lit, guards changed, dreams folded away. Spoiler: day brings no more certainty than night. Congratulations, you've seen both. You descend, slow, measured. The streets greet you thin and cool, and so you step forward, toward light not yet fully trusted. Night's end, quiet thoughts, and dawn husher this. The city holds its breath. That fragile moment when night has not quite yielded, and dawn has not yet claimed the streets. You walk it alone, footfalls soft as ash. A low mist creeps through alleys, blurring edges, swallowing sound. The air smells of stone, cold iron, and wood smoke half spent. Spoiler: the day will break. Congratulations, you are here to meet it. You pause beneath an arched bridge. The river below whispers secrets in dark tongues. Overhead, crows stir on slate rooftops, wings shifting with soft rustles. In a nearby doorway, an old man sweeps. Ritual more than task. His broom stirs dust, not dreams. He hums to himself, voice cracked but steady. You watch. Such acts hold the city upright more surely than walls. Tepidity, in your breath. Stillness, rare. Gratitude, earned. Now the baker's window glows faint. First loaves rise beneath skilled hands. The scent, warm, primal, coils through the mist, a promise older than coin. You smile. Hunger stirs, but you savor the moment. Past the square, a woman waters her herbs. Silent, reverent. Dew clings to leaves. She moves slow, a dance for no audience but dawn. And here is a boy scrubbing a threshold. His eyes flick to you, wary, curious. He nods. You nod back. No words needed. The sky pales, shadows soften. The city exhales. You climb narrow steps to a high courtyard. There you sit. Beneath you, life stirs. Dogs bark, shutters creak, carts groan to reluctant motion. And above, the sun edges forth, hesitant then bold. Stone gleams, mist melts. The city wakes. You breathe deep. Spoiler: the day brings toil, risk, moments of grace. Congratulations, you walk into it prepared. Your thoughts drift to the elder's words, to the mother's lullaby, to the gambler's laugh and the scholar's sigh. This city, flawed, fierce, beautiful in its stubborn humanness, holds you now. And you, in turn, hold it within you. Tepidity in the first sunbeam, peace in this breath, readiness in your step. You rise, the streets await, and so you step forward once more. A quiet farewell and good night. Picture this. The sun now crowns the city, gold spilling across rooftops. Yet here, in this still moment, your steps slow. The long path winds toward its close. You find a bench beneath a vine-clad wall, stone warm beneath weary bones. You sit. You breathe. Spoiler: there will be other days, other nights. Congratulations. You've walked this one well. The streets stir louder now. A tide of voices, wheels, lives renewed. But they wash past you, soft-edged. You watch a child chase a hoop, laughter bright as coin. A merchant polishes his scales. A tinker sets tools to gleam. Life resumes its stubborn, beautiful rhythm. You close your eyes. The scents of bread, earth, smoke weave around you. Rich, grounding, tepidity in the morning's breath. Calm within your chest. Rest, deserved. The elder's words echo. Kindness, spend it wise. You smile, a promise folded for the road ahead. And here is a barber opening his shop. Blades gleaming, smile practiced. You nod as you pass. All things return in time. Your path winds homeward, each stone now familiar, each face a story. You reach your door, the key turns. A small, firm act of claiming space within this restless world. Inside, the room breathes cool and dim. You shed the weight of the night. A cup of water, a crust of bread. Simple rites of grounding. You settle upon your bed. Rough linen, welcome now. The city hums beyond your shutters, but softer, distant. You breathe slow, deep. And as your eyes grow heavy, thoughts drift, of laughter shared, of wisdom gathered, of streets well walked. Spoiler, sleep will find you. Congratulations, you are ready, and so you let go. The city will wait. The dawn will come again. For now, rest. Good night.